Ladies and gentlemen, yesterday the Nasdaq went down significantly by 3%, and the S&P 500 also went down significantly. And behind all this is a threat of a US-China trade war. The extent of how this thing can happen is something that the whole stock market is very concerned. There is a precedent of this thing happening in 2018. So at that point of time, there was a trade war already broke out. Right now, I would rather adopt a wait and see approach and see whether this thing actually going to pan out. But if it does, then we'll expect some stock market reaction. I'm right now in the midst of compiling a very detailed analysis of what happened in 2018. And the good thing is that many times how we take advantage of stock market situation is by looking at history. And for this, we actually know that in 2018, this has broke out before. The whole stock market went down by about 10%. Later, likely because of a couple of issues, but one of the main issues there was inflationary pressure. The Federal Reserve hiked the interest rate, and that sends the whole stock market crashing as well in 2018 to 2019 period. So all this is something that the whole stock market is very frightened that you will repeat again. And that's why right now, given that there is an increased chance that Trump is going to win, the whole stock market has already reacted in anticipation of this happening. I would say that we got to wait and see. Many people say, should we then sell? We make so much profit, we sell. No right and wrong on this. I would take the position myself that I'll do a wait and see. At this juncture, yes, the likelihood of him winning is going to be very high. But given that the world environment is a different environment, I think that history may not repeat in entirety. And I will also expect China to be a bit more wiser. China nowadays is not the same as what they were in 2018. They used to be a roaring lion or a powerful dragon. Right now, the lion has become a pussycat and the dragon has now become something small. Okay, before I go on more descriptive insult, which is terrible, I think that now China will be a lot smarter to know how to handle Trump as well. I think that a lot of things can happen between now to presidential election, and from a presidential election all the way to the actual thing actually happening is still a long way to go. The stock market can have a lot of reaction to it, so I would not over anticipate what can happen, but certainly I will take a session to explain what happened in 2018 so that in case it does happen, we know how to react, we know how to take advantage. Let me say categorically that it is very difficult, okay, to anticipate a crash. Very difficult. It is easier to catch a market bottom because when the market crash, there are strong signals how market will have a turnaround. So I would take the position that I will not try to anticipate the crash, but I'll try to see whether if the market does crash, okay, I'll then start to read macroeconomic signals and see whether there's going to be a turnaround. So at this juncture, my position is that I'll adopt a wait and see. If there are risky positions that I'm taking right now, which I do have some, if there's going to be an inflationary risk again, which is a very frightening thing, I may pare down certain high-risk leverage position that I might be in. But as for Nasdaq, S&P 500, I'm just probably going to hold on. I do expect market to have a lot of volatility from this point all the way to post November, which is the presidential election. And I also think that from then onwards, the market can react in a lot of ways. So right now we have a confluence of many factors. Number one, there's an AI boom that's happening right now. Number two, there's presidential election. Number three, the Federal Reserve are going to cut interest rates. And number four, there could be a trade war happening. We don't know. We also don't know whether Biden is going to be the official candidate, So a lot of things can happen, right, from now to then. So I would say that we are probably going to overreact to some of these things by taking, certain positions. I would just do a wait and see. Fluctuations in stock market in this period are very common. Volatility is very common. And I would say that increased volatility is probably going to happen. So those people who have got the stomach for increased volatility, then you might want to see whether you want to adopt Mr. Lu's position of a wait and see. I can't advise the rest of people what you should do, if you are not one of us. In reaction to the yesterday 3% Nasdaq crash, yes, it's a point of concern, but I don't think we need to overreact to it at this juncture. As I said, I'm right now compiling a presentation of what has happened in 2018, just in case if 2018 story were to come again. This presentation will help you understand what has happened and the events leading up to the crash of 2018, and then what actually happened in 2018 to 2019, and eventually what helped the market to recover as well. So just wait and see. I'll certainly present that deck as well. So happy to hear what your views are, and I'll talk to you in a day or two. Bye-bye.